So following the resignation of Councillor Evelyn Penny, you need to resolve to elect a chair of the committee. Deathly silence.
A permanent chair, or are we going to do it on an each meeting basis?
I think you could perhaps do with a permanent chair, and then, because then you need somebody to correspond to, and then obviously at each meeting, if the person's not available, you can elect one. Anybody who would like to do it obviously get some support and help. They've not been here very long.
Hinted.
Oh, no hints.
No hints whatsoever. It's up to, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it. If nobody else wants to do it, I'll do it. You know, I know it'll cause an issue, but
I'll do the
it.
speeding bit as Peter used to do.
Yeah.
Your properties anyway, so
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
lovely.
So,
Proposed?
Proposed, all agreed?
Yes.
You just need a chair.
Oh,
Sorry. Isn't it?
thank you. Okay, so second item on the agenda is 012, which is apologies for absence. We have none.
So,
013 is declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest in accordance with the requirements of the Localism Act 2012 and to consider any request for dispensations in respect of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests in agenda items.
Yep, of pecuniary interest. Not quoting.
is that agenda item? 2022/3020?
Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Item 014 is to resolve to approve as correct record the notes of the meetings of committee held on the 25th of May 2022 and authorise the chair to sign the official minutes. Is everybody happy they
Yes,
are
I've
correct?
got those.
Can I have a proposer, please? A seconder? And all agreed?
Yep.
There you go, thank you. And there's some on the back of that one.
Okay.
29.
Item 015 is planning applications. To agree the responses for the planning applications received. So we have a do. Are any there that we have got anything that we want
I
to
think I made
make
a
a
comment
comment about?
about 0575-22, which I think was in Low Lane, which was, I think that was demolishing a bungalow and building 4 detached houses.
Yeah.
I just thought that was overdevelopment for the small
Okay.
plot. With quite a narrow entrance to it as well.
Yeah, Low Lane's not very
No.
good road, is it? So is it?
Erection of 4 detached dwellings, 1 detached garage and a demolition of existing bungalow. This is a resubmission
Yes,
of one they'd already
I seem
done.
to remember that. And I think we made a comment on it before, didn't
We
we?
did.
Yeah. So, does
So
the
are we
comments-
still sticking with our original comment that we
Yeah.
believe it's overdevelopment of the plot?
Are you happy with all the...
Yeah.
And then all of the others are no objections,
No
aren't there?
objections.
Can I have a proposer, please? Kiss it. All agreed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item B is to resolve to agree the consultation regarding the application adjacent to Fen Road and phase 2. So that is on our
It's
bit.
not,
So it's just basically the next
Yeah.
based off what has already been agreed, pretty much. Anything anybody wants to make any comment about?
No.
No.
It is what it is, isn't it?
It is.
Ultimately,
It's going to happen.
it's going to happen regardless of whatever we say to. The only thing I would, you know, if anything comes up whereby they want to change the numbers of affordable housing, etc., then we just really need to be mindful of that.
So everybody's happy, no objections with that one?
No.
Can I have a proposal, please?
That's my turn.
Thank you, all agree?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And item 016 is speeding. So item A is to resolve to agree the locations of SID for July.
Right, they presently were put up just almost 2 weeks ago in one location in Holbeach Herne, approaching from the north, and the other one is on Fen Road outside the Mitsubishi Garage, and they're both working. So we need to decide locations for the next move, which we thought we'd do at the end of next week.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Any thoughts? When I look through the drive at the locations that we've got, and there actually aren't that many. Boston Road's out. The last one was in Spalding Road anyway. There's only one location in Holbeach, St John's, and that was the last one as well. I have no idea where North Parade Holbeach is.
Yeah, it's the bit that goes down alongside the factory shop,
Okay,
which is a one-way.
okay.
Now, it gets quite heavily used, but I don't think it's a real
Is
speeding
that by the
issue.
Catholic Church?
No, it's not
Before,
Before
isn't it?
Slow, it's before
Before
that.
Yeah.
People use it as a cut-through when they're going through to the school.
Okay.
It may be worth doing it. I would have thought the more important bit would be Hallgate, to be honest, because people do cut down there quite a lot.
Yes, Stephen mentioned that yesterday, that he said that
The
they're
traffic is
building a new
increasing a lot.
roundabout and
Yeah.
people are... I don't know whether there's a mounting
I
plate.
think there is. I'm sure there's one. I think there's been one down there
Okay.
before, but I'm not entirely sure where it is.
I'll go and have a look. And I
Um,
think he said there was one in Whitnallsgate as
yeah,
well.
because it goes all, it
It's the
connects
same
up.
connect,
So
yeah.
yeah. So if you can have a look and see whether there's the possibility of doing that, because
So-
that is a busy road now.
So if we say Hallgate, I think Fox's Low Road is a good location. Again, I did have a look the other day and I couldn't see a mounting plate there. I've got 2 spare.
Right.
Um,
Have we got permissions to put on any lampposts
well,
there?
it's on the list.
Well, then if we have, then yeah, give it a go.
It's...
Especially at the
Well,
minute,
it-
because they're cutting down there because of the roadworks on Fleet Road.
That's finished now.
Has it finished?
Yeah.
They're all gone.
Well, actually, it says on this list that there is one there and that it's been approved. But I couldn't see it, so we say
Have a look.
I'll have a look at that.
Okay.
Fox's Low Road
And Hallgate.
and Hallgate. Because the 30 mile an hour on Low Road is almost the whole length of the,
Yeah,
isn't it, until you get to the little bit before you get to the A17.
yes. If you want
Yeah.
any
I'm having a
more,
hot flush, I do apologise. Read it that.
if you want any more of the repeater signs, we found some more in the safe.
Okay,
So that they're now in the little back office.
these are the,
Yes,
Yeah.
the ones for 30
Yes.
and whatever. So
Okay.
if you want those to put up, there are some sitting in there. I think it's about 6, isn't it?
cable ties.
I've got some cable ties.
Oh, yes, I saw
Yeah, that's
those.
it.
Okay,
So, yeah, you can collect those if you want them at any
okay.
time.
Can I have a proposer, Nathan, please?
I'll post those if you want.
Seconded? All agree. Thank you.
Item B, to receive an update on the city locations of High Street, Church Street and Park
Road,
Yes, well, I've done that. We'll have a look. Park Road, there are 2 lampposts which are outside on the same side as the cemetery, which is PN11 or PN10,
yeah.
which look good to me.
Mhm.
Church Road's tricky. There is a unnumbered lamppost outside the old exchange,
Yeah.
which, although that's on a junction,
Stephen did say about Wignall's Gate or Hallgate
yeah,
for that instead of that one.
okay. Also, well, it's not actually, it's Station Street, I believe,
Station
the
Street,
street.
yeah.
It is lamppost 14, which is just this side of the fire station on the approach.
Okay.
Um,
So those would be
Yeah.
suitable because that's, as people are coming in,
yes,
they're still going at a
Yeah.
fair speed at that point,
Yeah.
aren't they?
although that's on a junction as well, but we'd obviously need to get permission for those, obviously. And High Street, I thought lamppost 39.
Whereabouts is that?
It's sort of opposite the Central Fish Bar,
Oh, right,
that
okay,
part.
yeah, that'd be good, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So we need to write to LCC to get permission.
Yeah.
For there is one in Boston Road anyway,
Yeah.
but that's still closed.
Yeah,
And
don't
we've
need
got we've got 2 actually in Spalding Road, haven't we?
We have, yeah, so if we send those suggestions
Yes.
through to them and then they will decide, certainly down Church Street
Yeah.
in that area, if they prefer one to the other, then
I mean, there
they'll-
was some communication between
Yeah.
the chap, wasn't there, about Park Road, and he seemed to think that there were mounting plates there, but
Yeah.
again,
You
I
couldn't see
I
any.
couldn't see any.
I can ask for the locations for those.
Yeah, he was looking from on Google Earth, I think.
So if we'll just email through to him because that's the quickest and easiest
So
way of
number
doing it.
11 and 10.
10 or 11, I'll just
Yeah.
pick one of them, say 10
Yeah.
on Park Road,
High Road, High Street 39.
39
Station Street number 14.
is 14. There's actually a lamppost which is 14, but there's also a hazard sign, which is quite high,
Right.
which has got a sort of the skid things on it. That would be ideal to go underneath that. We are allowed to do that, I presume.
I don't know what the
And so
setup
can-
is, but
yeah,
we
I'll
can
ask.
I think we are,
Yeah.
because the one that's going in towards Holwich St John's is on a sign, a bend sign.
Yeah.
And I also looked at Holwich Road, and again, I'm not sure whether it would be permitted, but there is only really one and again, that's on a bend sign, which with Beach and Crowland, which is that.
Mhm.
But that's right on the 40, when it goes from 50
Yeah.
to 40 into,
Mhm.
well, and I know a lot of people, reading through some of the stuff that Peter Sparks communication that's on the drive, I think that would be a good,
If you can send
shall I send you the
send
picture? I'll
yeah.
send you the other ones as well.
Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Okay, that's good. And item C, to receive an update on Saturday Bridge. Have we heard anything back?
Yeah, Jan had an email back today, she's been chasing it, I'll just read it out if that's okay.
Yeah.
Hello Jan, thank you for your email. I can recall asking LCC Highways to reinstate the signage that had been damaged in a previous collision. I'm not sure if this has been done as I've not been down that way since. I think it might be useful for one of my engineers to visit the location. I know we have carried out works in the past here. Physical layout is unlikely to change due to the constraints, but we'll take a look and see what we can offer. I note your comments regarding the visibility when exiting the side roads, and so we'll assess this. It's one that we'll have to come back to you on. When is your next meeting?
Who's that from?
That is from, is it Graham? Is there a gentleman called Graham Brook there?
He's the
He's the chap that,
sits and
yeah.
everything.
Let me see where that's come from. But Jan has said the comments she made about the visibility was her
Yes.
own, and the
Absolutely.
comments
yeah.
you made.
When you're coming along Ravens Bank to the junction, the concrete posts on the bridge means that you've got no visibility
Yeah, Graham
of
Butler.
traffic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same one then, so
Yeah.
we can...
So Jan has suggested that we go out when the gentleman goes out, that we go with them just to,
Yeah.
it's better to talk through.
Yeah, good
If
idea.
that's okay, so
Yeah,
for Jan to go back and
Yeah.
arrange that meeting.
Arrange a meeting with them, or one of the engineers
Yeah.
or whoever. Yeah, it's good, thank you. Item D, to agree who will assist Councillor Howden with the seats. Well, I think we've already got volunteer, haven't
We've
we?
got a volunteer.
Yeah, you're happy to do that. Okay, good. If, further down the line, if you need
Yes.
anybody else, we'll put it on to full council and see if
Yeah.
we get anybody as a backup plan.
It's just that I don't have a ladder suitable, or the ladder that I can fit in my little car, so,
Well, just pick you up from a van.
yeah,
That'd be easy, wouldn't
yeah.
Okay, so that's all sorted. So item 017, emergency planning, to resolve to agree that the office will be responsible for the emergency plan.
Yeah, I don't think, when we had the last meeting, Mark, quite a few weeks ago, Mark was supposed to go back to them because there's some queries and everything and
Right,
updates
yeah.
on there. I don't think it's, by what I know, it's not been done.
No, it hasn't.
So Jan did say about herself and me having, looking into that and looking after it.
Yeah, I think it would be sensible that it stays within the office to do the updating of it, because then if we have changes of councillors or changes of committees, it's not going to affect it. But I do think we as a committee need to be feeding into that. So, or even the wider council, if the queries that have been flagged up, if you don't know the answers to it, just put it out to everybody and get input.
Yeah.
That's the
Well, it
easiest
was
thing.
Sam and Mark that did the training, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Have we got any of that information through at all? Did you never get that?
I think I might have seen an email where Jan was asking about that. I don't know if she's had any feedback at all.
If not, could we go back to who provided the training and just say, have they got a PowerPoint or something that we could have and explain that the people that went on the training are now no longer involved in that? That would be the best idea, because at least if we've got a PowerPoint, then anybody can look at it and go through it.
Yeah, that's over a month ago, so.
So can we have a proposer then that the office take overall responsibility? Peter,
Propose.
seconder. Thank you, yeah.
I'm contacting emergency planning for.
Okay, 018 is properties. Item A is to receive an update on the defibrillator for the phone box. And I see we've got a little bit of communication that came back through, but it
Yeah.
doesn't still clarify anything.
No, it doesn't, does it? It needs to
No,
be.
Mark was asked to get written notification that they will be supplying and continuing funding it. He's come back to me to say that verbally, I have asked for it to be written, and I've also contacted Sam Fabel again. I think
Okay.
I've tried 3 times and Jan's tried as well.
Shall I go and see her?
You could try.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to her since she resigned.
I mean, it's not that we don't believe that they're going to do it, but it does need to be formally
Yeah.
agreed. We need to have, I mean, I would have thought from their own processes, they
Yeah.
would need to have something in
thought so.
writing, I would have thought. If
She's
they,
presumably going to fund the upkeep and
well,
the,
this is what we need to
Yeah.
clarify.
and the
I mean,
system that,
it's all right buying it, but if
Yeah.
we're going to end up with the ongoing costs, we need to know that so we can start to budget it.
yeah,
Because at the minute, we haven't.
because yes, it's not cheap,
No.
the maintenance and the contract, and I can't remember how much it was.
No, so it's just, we just need it clarifying and
I
it needs to
can
be in
try.
writing. And if not, if we haven't got any further with it by another couple of months, then
Yeah.
we're going to have to seriously think about what else we do with that.
Yeah.
Aren't we? Yeah. Or whether we put it as a project for next year
Yeah.
and fund it ourselves. Item B, to receive an update on the Bowls Club lease.
They had a meeting last week and they're supposed to be getting back to us, but we've had nothing back yet.
Okay.
So as soon as we do, I can update everybody.
Okay, that's correct. Item C, to receive an update on the cemetery shovels and to resolve to agree the way forward. So, we're no further forward really, are we? So we just need to wait until the work's completed and then we'll go down, assess the situation, see where we're at. I did have a brief conversation with the gentleman that does all of the historical stuff.
Oh, yes.
And he would be interested in utilising the
As
chapels.
a museum.
Yep,
Excellent.
if that's something that we look at doing later on. Okay, item D, to discuss and resolve to agree the way forward regarding the ceiling in office number 3. Yeah, it's not just in office 3, but we have got some cracking in the ceilings around as well. So really we can't resolve the way forward until we've had somebody in to look to see whether it's just a repair job, because they are old ceilings and they may just be general wear and tear, or whether there's something more going on. So I think if we can get a couple of people just to give us an opinion. So I'll propose that we get a couple of...
Who would we use?
I can get the person that did the works and bits and pieces for us recently.
Yeah.
I can ask him to come and have a look, and then we can ask another person.
Does it need to be
just-
structural? Or
Not
really?
particularly. It's just to have a general look and see what they think is going on.
It might just be the plasterboards.
It may be, yeah, because there's a bit in there that is sagging, so it
Probably the old label plaster, isn't it?
possibly.
Could be.
There is one crack in the safe, we noticed.
Yeah, and because the building has had subsidence at some point, and it may be all sorts of things. So we'll get a couple of people in and have a look and see then what their recommendation is, and then we can see what we need to be looking at doing and how soon we need to do it. So we can propose that we get a couple of people to look
Yes.
at it. Yeah. Item E, to discuss and resolve to agree the way forward with tenants using an electric heaters at Cumbro. Don't quite know how you're going to solve this one.
The offices are not separate suppliers.
No. No, I think as a whole, we're going to have to reassess where we are later in the year with cost of heating, because it may be that we're going to have to write to them all and ask them to pay on top of their rent, because obviously the rent may or may not cover the usage that we're having. But I think the issue is around the electric heating. Are we going to just tell everybody that they're not allowed to use any electric heaters, or are we just going to see how it plays out through the next
What
few
sort of
months?
electric heaters are they? Are they oil filled or
No, they're a convector, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
they're quite expensive to run, aren't
Yeah,
they?
and they're not cheap to
They don't
run.
have central heating upstairs.
Yeah, it's not upstairs.
Ah, right.
And yeah, I know we've had some cooler days at the beginning of the summer, but once the heating goes off, the heating goes off, doesn't it? Everybody
It's
else
just got a cardigan on.
is making it work, but we seem to have an issue with...
There are ways you can get around it though. I mean, if it's local to where the fuse board is, you can always add a new circuit and meter that circuit
Oh, right, okay.
and say this socket here has to be used for your heaters so you can monitor what they're using.
Okay,
Idea.
right. So I think we just
The
need
meters
to...
aren't expensive.
we need to assess as we move forward, I think. I think when the bills start coming in, then we'll need to have a general discussion around heating costs. We are due to get the timer set up on the boiler done before the winter.
I
So
did
at
look at
least-
the projected costs for heating.
Yeah,
for-
it's
and
horrendous.
huge.
It is horrendous,
It's
and
about
there's no
9,000,
way
isn't it?
that we're going to be able to cover that.
£1,000, I think it was.
It's going up astronomically. So we're going to have some sort of limit as to what we're prepared to fund ourselves, because we don't know what people are using when we're not here.
No.
That's the problem. And once we've got the timer set up for the central heating, then it'll come on and off, and it won't be able to be overridden. But that doesn't then stop people using electric heaters, does it, if we're not here?
Well, no, I think they should fund those themselves.
And to be fair, even if you put a circuit in, or stop them unplugging it out of that socket.
And put it
Yeah.
into another one,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
that's the problem you've got. And if you're not here and you don't go in the rooms, you don't know whether they're using them or not.
And if you tell them that they can't use them, who knows whether they are or not?
Well, you don't know, and I think that's why we may well just have to say, unfortunately, due to the rising costs, there will be a supplement on top of the rent that you're paying
But if they
for
bring
the
their own
costs.
heaters into, are they pat tested?
We did ask the question and they said yes, but we haven't seen evidence of that. So I think that's the other thing that we would need to ask.
Or is your warranty, your insurance?
Yeah, so we do need to ask for evidence of the pat testing. For any electricals they're using, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest. So I think, okay, so if we agree initially that we ask for evidence of pat testing of all electrical items that are within their offices,
Yeah.
we monitor the situation regarding costings and revisit it when we're getting into the winter months and see what we need to do. So that's the proposal. Agreed. To discuss and resolve to agree the rent for Wash or Sold Us, same thing. They are the charity that support people that are going through domestic violence.
Okay.
They're not using this room that often, are they? Since I've been here, they've only used it once for a matter of minutes because the appointment that was made, the lady unfortunately couldn't attend.
Right.
So they've not been since.
So the situation as it was, they used to rent the little small room that is now Karen's office. Obviously when COVID hit, that then meant that they weren't taking appointments to do anything. Then they came back to us and said they wanted to start up again, but obviously they wanted to do it more on an appointment system, so they were trying to do more outreach, getting out to people, but they wanted to have a hub if need be. The CAB rent the spare room down the hallway, so the idea is that Wash would, or Sold Us, would use that on the days when they want to come in. But as they're not using it very often, it's not fair to charge them the rent
No.
for the whole year. So my suggestion would be that we charge it on a case, each time they use it, we charge it on a flat rate.
Yeah.
And when I quickly worked it out, if you were doing it, because they normally do a morning session, if you were doing it on a weekly basis throughout the year, the rent would equate to about a session.
Yeah.
So I think if we do it on that
Yeah.
basis, and then we invoice them each month for however many times they've used it,
Yeah.
or if they're not using it, we invoice them every 3 months or whatever, because if they're not only in 2 or 3 times, it's not worth invoicing every month. We could do it quarterly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my proposal.
Yeah.
So it's a flat rate. those.
Second that.
Yeah. Item 019 to confirm the date and venue of the next PPES committee meeting. So 4 weeks would be what, Karen?
Looking at the week beginning the 25th of July.
Okay.
I think
Is that was just a fortnight after the full council meeting, wasn't it? Oh, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
halfway between.
Yeah, good. So anywhere in that week, really.
There's nothing in there.
There isn't anything, is there?
So whatever day suits people best.
What's best for you if we do it at 2 o'clock?
I'm happy, yeah, as long as I'm here. Plenty of notice, so.
Yeah.
On
Do
Wednesday,
it Wednesday,
still?
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so about 27th.
27th?
Yeah.
And stick to 2 at the moment,
Yeah.
until we know whether we've got any other members. Okay, so I will close that part of the meeting at 2:30.